Starting out building a Patek Philippe collection, where to start and what to get first. Here's how I started with my first two pieces, how I wear them, and where I'm heading next. Stepping into Patek Philippe is a huge step up from Rolex in terms of watch collecting. So it can be difficult to decide which pieces to start out with first and where to build your collection from, and even harder to get those pieces allocated from the authorized dealer. I think most people would recommend starting out with the Calatrava and then working up to the Complications or the Aquanaut or the Nautilus. Even Terry Stern, the owner of the company, said he would not give his son as a first watch a complicated piece such as a perpetual calendar or minute repeater. He would give his son as a first watch either the Calatrava or the humble Aquanaut. And only after learning these pieces would he have him step up to a more complicated piece. But I did it the other way around just because of what was available to me at the time. I got the 5205G first and then the Calatrava. The 5205G features an annual calendar. It's a slightly sportier design, but still elegant. It has a complex blue dial that fades to black at the edges. Let's go back to the buying experience of the Calatrava. I had to move on and find a second authorized dealer because my first AD lost his Patek status because of the recent contraction earlier in the year. I had a great experience on my first visit there, spending about an hour talking about Patek Philippe, and I put my name down for two or three watches, and I got called back just a few days later with an offer to buy one of their display pieces, which was this 6119G Calatrava. And the purchase visit was again a great experience. I spent another hour there over coffee, going over everything in detail. And I think nothing about the whole experience came about as an accident. I think the AD, along with the Patek representative, designed the whole experience to be easy and memorable. From the convenience of setting up the appointment, walking you back into the Patek Salon section of the store, and sitting you down and making you feel unrushed and going through the whole process of showing you the watch and trying it on and purchasing it. And just walking in and sitting down in the Patek part of the store, everything seems extra luxurious and premium, and it makes you feel like the watch itself is a step ahead of any other watch in the store. Everything is designed to give you that dopamine hit and give you a memorable experience. And it's in the interest of both the AD and Patek Philippe to make you feel like you had a special experience. So it makes you feel like you're wanting to come back for more. So now I've been wearing either the Calatrava or the annual calendar to work about 3 days out of the week. And on the weekends, it's Rolex. The Calatrava is a true dress watch and it goes well with any of my suits. The case design is simple but still refined and elegant and very noticeable as a Calatrava case. The case is just there to hold the movement and it has no extra flourishes. But because the movement itself is so thin, the case itself lies very flat and it wears even larger than the 39 millimeters would suggest. Because it's so thin and it's so flat, it wears like a disc on your wrist and it doesn't have a chance to curve down to conform to my smaller wrist. So for me, I think the Calatrava would be better as a 37 millimeter. I still have it on the original black alligator strap, but I'm thinking about getting another strap that's slightly smaller because right now I can't make it any tighter than it actually is right now. But I'm still deciding whether I want to keep it with a black strap or go with a different color. The dial itself is also very attractive. I think I could have had an equal chance of getting the white dial, rose gold Calatrava, but I like this charcoal dial slightly better. It has a simple and minimal design at a distance. By getting closer, it has some more complexities. It has a vertically brushed charcoal dial, which you don't see very often, and it has that subdial at 6 o'clock. The hour markers and hands are highly polished in white gold and extremely reflective. And this is what helps make the watch more legible as the light bounces off the hour markers and the hands at different angles. Very little printing or text on the dial, which I like. The bezel itself has that distinctive, detailed texture, which Patek Philippe is especially known for and especially skillful at doing. But another small negative is that because the case is so flat and the crystal is so flat, it does have a lot of reflection, and that takes away from the dial slightly. So that, along with the case diameter being slightly large for my wrist, those are my only negatives to this watch. So I love wearing this during the week to work. No one will notice it on your wrist, and I can also take it out for dinner at the end of the day. Moving on to the 5205G, I'll take the chance to talk about the boxing and the presentation because that's also part of the Patek ownership experience. Both of my watches came in the exact same box, even though the annual calendar was more expensive than the Calatrava. As far as I know, they make no distinctions across the line, and every Patek comes with the same type of box. The familiar brown outer box and that nice cloth covering, which covers that highly polished, high quality wooden inner box. This box is very heavy and overall definitely a step up from Rolex and tells you that something special is inside. The Calatrava cross is labeled on the outside, and there's a Calatrava buckle which opens the box. And that tells you how essential that Calatrava is to Patek. The Calatrava is the watch that's famous for saving the company and bringing it into success. And inside this box is the 5205G annual calendar with that beautiful blue dial. I was lucky enough to find this available in the display case on my first visit to my first Patek AD, and it was available for sale. So I'm glad I purchased this. Slightly thicker in design, slightly sportier, but much more complicated with an annual calendar. So I think it's a good value for what you get. Everything inside the main box is clean, but all the documentation is stored underneath the box. And this is another thing that makes the Patek ownership special. The certificate of ownership is still in paper, and your name and address is still written out by hand. This makes it feel like the watch is more bonded to me personally, and it's a much more personal experience than the more sterile electronic warranty card that now Rolex has. So, comparing this annual calendar to the Calatrava, this one is in the complications line. So, a more complicated movement, more expensive, but they also have a more complex case design and more complex dial design. Starting with the bezel, you can notice the concave design, and this gives the illusion that the watch is smaller in diameter and smaller in volume than it actually is. So even though this is 40 millimeters, it actually looks smaller than the 39 millimeter Calatrava. On the dial, three windows across the top for the date, day, and month. The 24-hour second time zone wheel at the bottom, and the moon phase display, which is beautiful to look at the bottom also. And the lugs themselves are more complex in design. On the sides of the case, near the lugs, the sides of the case are scooped out, which gives an interesting appearance. And the lugs themselves are hollowed out so you can see right through them. Apparently, a very difficult technique to do properly and very difficult to get the polishing just right inside those tight spaces. Both the Calatrava and the annual calendar have a transparent case back, but this one has a automatic rotor which covers up part of the movement. But either way, the movement is very highly finished and very beautiful to look at. And on the sides of the case, there's even space for you to store the hang tag and a space for you to store the tool which you use to push the pushers on this annual calendar to set the watch. So out of the two, I think this annual calendar is the favorite of my Patek collection. The blue dial is even more special in person. There's a lot going on with the dial, but the sector design of the dial keeps everything in its place. Like I said, it's a little bit more casual, more sporty. So I can take this out to a more casual meal and take this out to brunch. So I think these two watches are a good way to start out a Patek collection. You have the charcoal dial and a dark blue dial, a very thin, dressy Calatrava, very simple, and a little bit more sporty annual calendar with more complications and a more complex dial. And where do I go from here? For my third Patek watch, I'm looking at one of either of these two, the 5212 weekly calendar or the 5226 Calatrava. I was able to see both of these in person when I was visiting New York City, and they both look amazing. I think the white dial of the weekly calendar would complement my collection very well as a third watch. And I like that light colored calfskin leather strap. But I think the 5226 Calatrava would also look really nice. It has that nice charcoal dial, the Arabic numerals, and the dial itself looks even better in person. It has a textured surface and it actually really sparkles under the light. And as a fourth watch, I think I would eventually like to go for a white gold Nautilus. But I know that would take several years, if ever, in order to get one of those. Let me know in the comments which watch would you go for as your third watch. I'll leave off with a short film of Terry Stern showing off some of the new offerings from 2023. He's basically the face of the company right now, and I like what he's doing. He spent a lot of time learning from his father about the company, about all the different details of the different watches, and the details that go into the production of each watch. It takes about 7 or 8 years for any new design to come into production, so you don't want to come out with a new watch every 1 or 2 years. But he also wants to keep alive the traditions of Patek Philippe and keep the basis strong. And he says he doesn't want the emphasis to all be on the Nautilus. There's a danger of the Nautilus overshadowing every other model, but there's so many other models that are attractive and very high quality. It would be easy for Patek Philippe to become the Nautilus company, something like Audemars Piguet. Right now is pretty much overshadowed by all the different variations of the Royal Oak. So I think Patek Philippe is being very careful, and I think they're on the right track.
Bonjour, bonjour. Here we are back, Watch and Wonder 2023. Welcome at the Patek Philippe booth. Like every year, we're presenting here all the new product. It's quite a busy day. Everybody is running from the left to the right. We have interview, we have meetings. It's a very, very busy fair. We have many different also new models, 17 altogether, and we are very pleased with it. It's quite successful, I must say. Let me present you now 4 pieces that I really enjoy. The first one, reference 5316. It's a lovely watch. It's a minute repeater. It's a perpetual calendar, retrograde, and tourbillon. The particularity for this watch is a beautiful crystal sapphire dial, and you can see through the movements. And this makes it very exciting. It has an aggressive look, and it's still very beautiful. The second one that I really enjoy very much because it's a technical new model is a men's watch with 42 millimeter big. It's quite a big watch, but it's used very well on a wrist because the lugs has been really done in a very nicely way. And this watch has a travel time on it also. You will see the beauty of the dial, who is a beautiful blue. The indexes also are very, very nicely done. And I think this watch will be a very, very big success for travelers and passionate people. Then maybe I can talk also about a very interesting piece, who is the Aquanaut Luce with the annual calendar. This was made for a woman because it's a beautiful piece without diamond that you can wear every day. The thing which is quite for me funny is that this watch was dedicated for women, and actually all the men loves it too. So it's going to be a big fight between the wife and the husband. Who's going to wear it? That's the question. Man, woman, who's going to win? We will see. Now let's jump to the Calatrava 6007. This is one of my favorites. We have 3 pieces, same dial. The only difference are the seconds. On one of them, the seconds are red. On the other one, they are blue, and the last one, they are yellow. The strap is also quite amazing. You will see how it's printed. It's calf, but with a very specific design. And if you look on the back, you would also be very happy about the color who goes with it. Now talking about a beautiful Calatrava who looks a little bit like a car, you know, the dial that you can find in your car. I come with you and I'm going to show you something that we call the rare handcraft. And talking about cars, let's enjoy also different type of watches with a beautiful enamel on it. I'm in Geneva in Rue du Rhône. This is where we have over 60 different type of rare handcraft pieces. And you will see a beautiful collection of pocket watches, dome clock, wristwatch, table clock. We are talking about, I would say, more than 60 different type of objects. Some of them made of enamel, some of them made of marquetry, and some of them made of what we call technique mixed also, of course, without forgetting engraving. All of those objects has been created by the Patek Philippe team. We are enjoying doing that. This is a real pleasure. It's not about just commercial, it's about showing the skills and the passion of all the people working at Patek Philippe. If you come here, you will discover, for example, a beautiful pocket watch with a leopard on it. This piece is made out of marquetry. It's one of my favorite pieces. When you think about this leopard, he's built with over 350 different types of parts of wood, different color. It takes hours to realize something like this. One of my other also favorite pieces are the wristwatch. Talking about wristwatch, there is a whole new thematic about cars. We choose to make beautiful wristwatch with enamel dial talking about old-fashioned race car. You will see many different ones. They are all around Geneva, and this is really quite unique. You will enjoy to see the different colors, the different technique that we have been using to make those beautiful watches. But if you have the time, just come and look at it by yourself. As I say, I think that's the only way to appreciate it. This event will be actually going on from the 1st of April until the 15th of April. And this is the second time we have been doing this exhibition, and it's not going to be the last one. Next year, of course, you will see also different type of beautiful objects. So let's meet together here, and I hope you will have a very good time. Thank you very much, and see you very soon.